What's going on, Tiger fans? So, this isn't going to be a long video because this week is honestly really nothing to recap. So, basically, it's getting to the point now where I just can't wait for the season to be over. As much as I love baseball and as much as I enjoy watching the Tigers on a nightly basis, this this needs to be over. It's brutal to watch. I'm tired of watching it. I'm tired of seeing the same shit. I'm tired of the same rants. I'm tired of the same complaints. I'm tired of watching the same game over and over and over again. This week's perfect example. Houston comes into town for 3 games. There's no Verlander. The coolest part about the series was the fact that Hunter Brown was got the pitch. And Hunter Brown, if you guys aren't familiar with him, which I'm sure you are if you watched the Tigers game this past week, Hunter Brown is actually a Michigan product. He's actually close to me where I lived in Michigan product. He grew up in St. Clair Shores, which I have family in, and where the majority of my family grew up. And he went to Lakeview High School, and he went to Wayne State University. And I did not realize that this guy was that big of a prospect. I didn't even know who he was until he made his major league debut. And then they had talked about his upbringing and his origins. And it was really cool seeing him pitch at Comerica Park. He had all of his family was there. The whole Wayne State baseball team was there. And it was really loud watching him, pitch and everyone cheering for him. And it was cool. The kid's got great stuff. You want to talk about just an electric fastball, really good slider, good curveball, really, really good stuff. And the comp for him is Justin Verlander. Everyone has said the same thing and Hunter Brown has said himself. He models himself after Justin Verlander. His delivery is similar to Justin Verlander. He watched him growing up as a kid, so it would make sense. And he seems like a really nice guy, and it was really cool to watch him pitch, even if he did, shit on the Tigers. But that's not very hard. Astros come in, and I didn't even expect, the Tigers to even have any semblance of a close series against them. They didn't. They got mutilated. Yordan Alvarez put on a show. The whole Alex Bregman put on a show. Jose Altuve. That team is so good. That team, if they don't make it to the World Series out of the American League, I will be floored. Between what Framber Valdez is doing, Verlander came back, Hunter Brown is probably going to be coming out of the bullpen. Lance McCullers is back. Their pitching staff is super deep. They got one of the best bullpens in all the American League. On top of Bregman's having a bounce back season, Yordan Alvarez is a stud. Jose Altuve is great. Jeremy Pena, until J-Rod existed, was the front runner for Rookie of the Year. Their team, Kyle Tucker's a stud. Their team is so good. I didn't think the Tigers stood a chance. I knew they were going to get shit wrecked. The only thing I'm disappointed in is we didn't get a chance to see Justin Verlander pitch at Comerica Park. Verlander's only faced the Tigers one time since being traded, and that was in Houston, and I think it was in 2019, and the Tigers actually beat him and roughed him up a little bit. But we haven't got to see him pitch at Comerica Park. It is what it is. But joke of a series, Tigers get obliterated. I'm not even going to talk about it. Kerry Carpenter had a few good swings. Torkelson had a few good swings. There's literally nothing memorable about it. Joey Wentz pitched a pretty decent game. And I forgot to mention in my last video that Joey Wentz came back. And Joey Wentz, like I had said, he was going to get the fifth spot in the rotation after Pineda was released. And since he's came back, he's made a few really good starts. His best start was against Kansas City, his last time out before pitching against Houston. The guy, man, I will say, he has really righted the ship with his fastball command. The biggest thing was his first start, and really his whole time in the minor leagues, is they were trying to get him to be able to throw strike one because he's got a good fastball. He can hit 97 from the left side. He's got a decent changeup, really good curveball. And his starts where he struggled, he was really having a lot of issues throwing strike one and not being able to pitch ahead on the count, which gets him to his curveball and keeps guys off balance with the changeup. He's done a really nice job limiting the walks, really, since he came back from injury, even in the minor leagues. He did a really nice job cleaning up his command, did a really nice job cleaning up his walk rate, and this fastball has been really good. He's been doing a great job getting ahead of hitters, and his curveball is phenomenal. So I'm really excited to see him pitch a couple more starts for the year end. The Tigers did shut down Bo Brisky today. They didn't think there was any point of trying to ramp him up to try to get him, back into game shape to pitch a useless few more innings. The Tigers did option down Cody Clemens for Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera was coming back, and what kind of sucks is I pulled a ball at the Tigers Authentics booth, and I always get a game used ball every time I go because I collect, autograph memorabilia. Maybe one day I'll make a short video of all my autographs and whatnot. And I always pull like the most garbage shit. And I pulled Jacoby Jones before. I pulled a Ryan Carpenter ball before. I've pulled Daniel Norris balls before. I always get the most garbage shit out of those grab bags. And I actually pulled a Daniel Lynch pitch to Miguel Cabrera. And if Miguel Cabrera wouldn't have played another game for the rest of his career, it would have been the second to last pitch he ever saw in the big leagues. But the Tigers optioned down Cody Clemens today for Miguel Cabrera, so it's not going to be the last pitch he ever sees, second to last pitch he ever sees in the big leagues. He's coming back. So it's going to be interesting to see if Hinch is only going to play him one game a series like he had been doing before he hurt the bicep with only a few games left. It'll be interesting to see. I highly doubt he plays more than 5 games out of the remaining games left, mainly because they're still trying to see what they have in a lot of these young kids. They're still trying to give guys, rotate that DH spot because Hinch has been putting Baez in that DH spot. He's been rotating Jimmy Candelario in the DH spot. Obviously, Kerry Carpenter's been in the DH spot, and then Days when Tucker Barnhart catches. Haas has been in the DH spot. So it's going to be interesting to see how many at-bats that Miguel Cabrera gets. Obviously, sending Cody Clemens down isn't really anything. Cody Clemens finally got a back-to-back start for the first time in, I would say, weeks the other day because he hit a home run. I believe it was against the Houston Astros. It was against the Houston Astros. He hit a home run for his 4th one of the year, and then he got a back-to-back start because he had a 2-hit game, and then he wore the collar again because Cody Clemens, he may have played himself off this team for next year for sure because I would rather give Ryan Kreidler more time and more at-bats come next season. Even though Kreidler only has 7 hits since being recalled from the minor leagues. You remember Kreidler started off pretty decently hot. Between his first game and that Angel series, he had 7 hits in I think a 10-game span. And since then, I think he's like 7 for 49. But I would still rather give Kreidler more at-bats and more of a look because Kreidler's getting a 4-week look versus I think Clemens got called up in June. And he got sent back down once already and then got recalled again. But I would still rather give Kreidler more of a look, more at-bats, even though Kreidler has really shown the same thing that he had shown in the minor leagues this year. Kreidler, between both levels, between AAA and the major leagues, he just hasn't hit this year. Simple as that. But I don't want to give up on still giving him more of a look if he makes it on the Tigers next year, if they don't trade him or do anything else. And we're going to touch on that when I do the offseason outlook video. I would still want to give him more of a look and more at-bats if he's still a Detroit Tiger next year versus someone like Cody Clemens, simply for the fact that he's got a better glove. I think he's got a better eye at the plate, better plate discipline. I think he has the ability to walk more than him. I think the power is about even. And if you see what Kreidler did last year in a season where he didn't break his wrist, in a season where he didn't rush to come back and rehab it as quick as he did, and then had a setback to where he had played in Lakeland for a while, I think you give Kreidler more of a look where he's got an offseason to fully heal. You give Kreidler a look where he has a chance to make improvements that he saw over the last 4 weeks and come into spring training and maybe get an opportunity to be, pending the roster. But for sake of the discussion, we'll say that the Tigers, have openings at second and third because they don't tender Jamer and they release Scope. With Kreidler's defensive versatility, being able to play third, second, and short at a high level, I'd rather give him the looks over Cody Clemens, and that's including for the rest of the season because he hasn't showed much with the bat, but I still don't think, 60 plate appearances or 80 when it's all said and done is enough to close the door on him. Now, with Cody Clemens, he's got a decent glove. It's okay. He made it some okay plays at third. He's okay at second. He's a mediocre outfielder. The bat doesn't ever look like it's going to be able to be at the big league level. Even in AAA, his numbers were marginal. He had that one stretch earlier this year before he got called up for the first time where he was murdering the ball and destroying, but we really never saw that. Now, I get it's been hard on him. that he hasn't gotten consistent playing time. And when he finally got that back-to-back start, it was the first time in a long time that he had gotten back-to-back starts. So I understand that. And honestly, him going to AAA for the last, I think they only have a week left of the season because their season ends shortly before I think the 30th theirs ends. It's better for him to get everyday at-bats. Who knows if he goes and plays in the instructional league or goes and plays winter ball. We'll see. But with his performance and how lackluster he's been with the bat, and he's not better defensively than Kreidler with the glove, I think his time on the Tigers might be up because they finally 40-manned him, because I think he might have been Rule 5 eligible this year if they didn't 40-man him, kind of like a Kreidler situation. But I think with how bad he's hit, and he's not better with the glove than Kreidler, that he might have played himself off this roster. But neither here nor there. Miggy's coming back. Clemens is gone. We'll finish wrapping up this series. They played 3 with the White Sox, and they should have took this series against the White Sox. Game 1, Matt Manning has one of his best starts of his career, goes 7 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, and Joe Jimenez ends up blowing it in the 8th inning. The Tigers end up winning it in the bottom of the 10th on a walk-off walk-off sac fly from Victor Reyes. Well, Saturday's game, I came up to Detroit, and I wanted to go to one more game before season's end, and Erod was pitching, and Erod pitched a hell of a game. I think he had 8 strikeouts. He went 6 innings, and toward the end of the game, you could definitely tell Erod was getting tired out. Like, he had ended the game with 2 straight walks, had the bases loaded, and the Tigers it was a tie game. They ended up getting out of the jam. Well, fast forward, Riley Green gets a hit to tie the game. Akil Baddoo scores from second on a really ballsy play because Elvis Andrus had to go so far in the hole because of the shift. Akil Baddoo just kept running because Yasmani Grandal wasn't paying attention, and he was up the first base line, and Baddoo scored easily. Well, fast forward to the bottom of the 10th inning. And in this game, Torkelson really didn't do much. Kerry Carpenter struck out 4 times. Riley Green had a walk and a single. And you get to the bottom of the 10th inning. Alex Lang pitches an absolutely beautiful top of the 10th. They get through the ringer of the bullshit where if you strand the runner at second with nobody scoring, getting a walk-off is like almost guaranteed because it's really hard to strand that runner. Well, you didn't account for the bottom of the Tigers lineup. Tucker Barnhart, since they're playing shallow after Ryan Kreidler gave himself up on a sacrifice bunt to third to get Baddoo over to Willie Castro over to third. Tucker Barnhart comes up, and this guy who can't hit for shit, can't hit his weight, couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, hits a ball to center field. Of course, they're playing shallow because they're trying to cut the runner down at the plate. Catches it. Normal depth is a dink hit, but Barnhart can't hit worth a shit. So now it's 2 outs. Brings up Akil Baddoo. Akil Baddoo finally gets his second extra base hit since being recalled, but that's all really he's had. What's he do? Strike out. And I was fucking pissed because I knew what was going to happen. We've all seen this story before. Gregory Soto comes out, and in non-save situations, Gregory Soto is useless. Absolutely useless. In non-save situations, he is one of the worst relievers in the MLB. First pitch, bunt on him, and he misses the bunt. And I get up at Comerica Park, and I am just livid. I'm dropping F-bombs like crazy. I was so pissed. I walked out of there because not only did they squander a game they should have won, they could have screwed the White Sox because the White Sox, they need every single game going down the stretch because they are trying to catch the Guardians. They took the game, they blew the game in game 1. Luckily, they walked it off. Game 2, they're in the identical situation where they could take a series from the White Sox. Take a series when they need it the most. The Tigers, who are playing for nothing, trying not to lose 100 games because they're fucking terrible, trash, garbage, fucking horrible team. They could have played spoiler and won in one series, second game, play for the sweep, and bury the White Sox. Nothing would have made me happier for them to bury the White Sox and finally murder off their season, and a team that is as disappointing and as horribly average as they've been. They could have almost guaranteed murdered their season. What do? They can't even get a runner in because Akil Baddoo sucks, because Tucker Barnhart sucks, the bottom of the lineup is horrible, Jonathan Scope sucks. This team, I cannot wait. And this is the point of this video. I cannot wait until this season is over to where I don't have to watch Barnhart anymore. Hopefully they get rid of Scope. Hopefully they get rid of the Candelario. And Akil Baddoo better do some work in the offseason because he better not have a guaranteed roster spot next year. He's playing for something in spring to prove that he's still a viable option for the team next year. He's not guaranteed shit because of what he did last year. This year just shows he's overmatched. This year just shows he didn't have enough time in the minor leagues. This year just shows he does not have the ability to adjust to major league pitching because all his extra base power went away. He has no ability to walk. He's been very average stealing bases. He's not even that good of an outfielder. And that game where they blew it, that put me over the top. I ended up walking out of Comerica Park. I was fucking livid, and I'm still livid about it because the Tigers are trying not to lose 100 games. They could have screwed over the White Sox and hurt their chances to make the playoffs. And what do? The bottom of the lineup sucks. They roll over and die. A team that's barely going to score 500 runs this year. A team that finally, they're finally hit enough home runs where Aaron Judge can't pass him as a singular person. Baez has actually been hitting. He's hitting 328 for the month. Fucking miracle, but he's hitting home runs in garbage time. I was pissed. Last game of the series today. Horrible. Tigers get shit wrecked. I'm not even going to get into it. And what happens? The White Sox take 2 or 3, and the Tigers should have been playing for a sweep today. Simple as that. End of story. Now they got to go to Baltimore, and Baltimore is probably going to take a couple of games from them there because Baltimore is an improved team, and they have a good offense, and their pitching staff is really good at Camden Yards, and the Tigers are on pace. They're probably going to lose 101 games, and they're trash, and we're going to have to watch them again struggle to score 3 runs. This season cannot end soon enough. Doing these last couple weeks for recap videos of what's going on in the team right now is just going to be fucking brutal to try to fill 16 to 22 minutes, my normal length videos, because coming on here ranting about the same shit, coming on here talking about the same players, same problems, same issue, same story, same results, and the same results are going to equate 101 times this season to fucking losses. So, the next couple of weeks are going to be difficult because I just don't care. I want the season to be over. I don't want to have to watch this trash anymore. But this past week was horrible. They get destroyed by the Astros. Had a chance to really play spoiler, play something. I mean, the White Sox took the Tigers so not seriously. They purposely didn't start Dylan Cease so they could have him and Lance Lynn. Or they didn't start Lance Lynn so they could have him and Cease for the Guardians series. So they start Vince Velasquez. Vince Velasquez is terrible. He has not been able to make it in a starting rotation in 4 years. There's a reason why he's a reliever now. He sucks. Willie Castro hits a 2-run homer. Tigers up 2-1 after the first. Not even close the rest of the game. Garbage time, trash. Get blown out, get the bases loaded with no outs, score 2 runs. White Sox respond the following inning with 3. Fucking garbage. Trash. We only got a couple more weeks left of this bullshit, guys. So, that's all I got for you guys today. Nothing good happened. Miggy's coming back this week. Who knows how many more games he gets. I'm interested to see what the young kids do for the next couple of weeks before this season mercifully comes to an end, so I don't have to watch this trash anymore and we can ponder about hopefully a team that could score 500, 600 runs next year, and don't lose 101 games because they're going to lose 101 games. So that's all I got for you guys today. This video is long enough. Terrible week. Miggy's coming back. Some good starts by some of the kids. And we'll see what they can do. Couple weeks left, guys. Bear with me on this bullshit. That's all I got. Go Tigers.